Yes, but it was, at one point we were told it was like a block of ice cream. We are not doing it like that. And then second, we are at the end of this month, on September 28th, starting Building Your Own Theology, a discussion group. The name is pretty self-explanatory. We will discuss how, we got to where we are in our own personal beliefs. It will be led by Reverend Carol and myself. There's not really a registration for that, but there will be an interest list coming out soon. So we need to know, we need to buy books for people who would like them. And then Reverend Carol has a couple more announcements, and then we will invite the whole thing.
We're going to say good morning a third time. Good. So this is your chance, because today is a kinesthetic service. You get to stand up and move. So right now I want you to just get it into your bodies that we're actually going to be moving around today. So good morning. Good morning. Wonderful. There you go. Elizabeth is in the spirit. And especially I want to say good morning to people who are with us virtually. I am Reverend Carol Bodeau. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am privileged to serve here as minister. And today is a special service. So we have lots of things coming up, right? You can feel the change of seasons in the air. I mean, we're going to have hot weather again probably, but it does finally feel like fall is actually going to come. And so there's a lot coming up. We have sort of a lot of activities. As Ryan said, Building Your Own Theology is starting. We are having the Sunday is a kickoff to our children's programs next week. We have a couple other things I want to let you know about. So first, Spirit Quest is happening in a couple of weeks. Now, I want to say especially, I'm going to look right at our virtual attendees. Everyone is welcome to come to Spirit Quest. Spirit Quest is a camping opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity to come camp and hang out, but you don't have to camp. Some of the folks attending this year will be staying in cabins. That is totally fine. But it's a chance for us to do summer camp as UU grown-ups. Okay, so there's fires, and there's swimming in the creek, and there's sitting around the picnic tables and sharing food. There's hiking in the woods. It's just a wonderful opportunity to hang out in nature before it starts to get cold.
Any singing?
There will be singing, absolutely. There will be singing, and maybe someone will even bring a guitar. I don't know. And the second opportunity that's coming up to go on retreat with Westside is our annual church retreat, which is held, now we are holding it at Rock Island State Park. So in a couple of weeks, we will start putting out signups for that. And the way that works is we have reserved a number of cabins at Rock Island State Park. Rock Island State Park is a beautiful park where a bunch of the Caney Fork and a couple other rivers converge. There's beaches, there's hiking trails, I think there's tennis courts, waterfalls. It's a gorgeous place. We reserve cabins and in advance, and it's actually pretty cheap to stay there. If you need scholarship help and you want to attend, all you have to do is let me know. But we reserved 7 cabins. 2 of them are pet friendly. One of them is ADA accessible. I believe that the rates are set at $175 for the whole weekend for a private room, or $140 for the whole weekend. That's from Friday evening till Sunday afternoon for a shared room. So we will have signups for that. And the way that works is if you specifically want to share with a particular person, you'll be able to indicate that. So that's happening the last weekend in October. Okay, the weekend before Halloween, October 24th to 26th. The other thing that it is worth knowing about, we are really trying to get our playground area and our Memorial Garden area cleaned up. So we need help. So there's some sign-up forms on the back table. There are a couple particular projects we want to work on. Project number 1 is our play structure for the kids needs some work to be safe. So we need some help with that. We will be scheduling these dates based on who signs up to help out. We need some help with the play structure. We need some help with the swing set, getting the swing set reset so it's safe. And we need some help. This is a really interesting one. We have a bench, a really really old, wonderful old bench that's actually, it's actually on concrete footers that are set deep into the ground. We need someone who is willing to or knows someone who might be willing to run a jackhammer to get that rascal out of the ground. So I will just say I've done that once and it's really fun, so don't hesitate to volunteer. And I want to encourage the people who are with us virtually. If you happen to attend virtually regularly and you want an excuse to come over here but not deal with a Sunday morning at church, this is a great opportunity to come to Westside to sign up for one of these things. You can do that through an email or just letting the office know. We will feed you pizza if you come to help with those things. So I encourage you, if you're at all interested, to sign up for those. So I think there's a lot more going on, but I think that's the main things for this morning. So this morning is all about how community comes together, right? How do we maintain our grounds? The community comes together. How do we maintain our building? The community comes together. How do we maintain our finances? The community comes together. How do we maintain our spirits in challenging times? The community comes together. All right, so it is in our coming together and being together that we create all the good we are able to create. So as I invite the bowl to sing, I'm going to invite you to reflect distress. It might be uncertainty, might be end of summer malaise, could be joy. What are you bringing in today? And what are you hoping to receive from this community?
We're now going to light our chalice. Today's reading for the chalice is the poem Confluence by Kimmy Floyd Reich. In the beginning, the earth spoke. The wind carried memory through trees older than empires. Our fiery sun reminded us that transformation is both beautiful and risky. The stones stood, grounded and still, carried the wisdom of time before time. And water, ever flowing, taught that life is movement and change. We gather today in this moment from mountains, streams, and marshlands, from inland cities and dry desert plains, from industrial hubs along Great Lakes to small homes along a bubbling creek, sharing our stories and our memories. We honor the sacred flow found in water, the streams that nourished our ancestors, the rains that quenched thirst and longings, the oceans that connected us in ways beyond borders. Water is not just a symbol, it is life itself. It teaches us that what we pour out matters, and that what we return to the water must be cared for. Water is sacred, not a resource. We stand with the water protectors who resisted its standing rock, and we listen to the ancient wisdom of Turtle Island as the earth's cry for justice whispers through every drop. We honor those who come here today, carrying hope by returning here to this space, and by extending our promise to move together like a river toward the beloved community, resilient, connected, and alive. Rivers meet in confluences, spaces where different waters flow together. May this gathering be a confluence of purpose, of communal healing, and of our commitment to continue the work of love and liberation. Every week, we also light 2 candles for the wider community, one for joys of the world and one for concerns. Our candle for joy today is about water, about how water is still around and there are efforts to keep it clean, to keep it fresh and ready for everyone who may need it. Our candle of concern today is for the shooting that happened in Minneapolis, where the Catholic Church in Minneapolis, where 2 children tragically lost their lives and 18 more people were wounded. We are going to keep their community in our thoughts.
So let's just, for a minute, take a minute of quiet reflection for the tragedy in Minneapolis. It's gotten almost routine to hear about such things. And we don't take time to grieve. And it is so sad that we have become a national and global community where we think it is normal to prepare our children for shooters in their schools. One of the gifts of community is that we have the opportunity to actually just take a breath in the midst of the world and honor what that feels like. We don't have to have a solution. You know, in the traditions of indigenous people, the element of water represents feeling. And it seems to me that we have become a culture so numbed by trauma that feeling has become almost impossible for us because we couldn't function. If you felt everything you saw or heard on the news, you would not be able to function. We live in perpetual secondary trauma. So one of the things I'd like to invite us to do today as we celebrate our water is to invite, to whatever extent we are able individually and collectively, to invite our capacity to feel, to flow. Because when we do not feel, we are less likely to act. So the water communion is meant to be a time when we celebrate our coming together. And over the years, when we have celebrated water communions here, we've done all sorts of things. We've talked about actual waterways and what they need to be clean. We've talked about the symbolism of water. We've talked about the healing properties of water. We've just talked about how fun it is to be in water and be around water. So water is this profound metaphor in the human psyche. It is a profound symbol for so many things. Birth, the womb, cleansing, healing. We think about the symbols of waters and how waters deal with resistance, right? Water goes around the rocks or it slowly wears away the obstructions. There's all these different ways we can think about water. So before we do any kind of ritual with our water, I'd like to invite you to think for a moment about what, for you, water represents right now. If you think about water, what does it evoke for you? Because the truth of the matter is, when we come together in community, that poem Confluence, the idea of confluence is really what a water communion is about. It's about the confluence of all of our individual selves, right? Every person who comes into this room or is with us virtually, every one of us is part of the confluence of personalities and emotions and skills and ideas and intentions and dislikes and likes, all the things we bring in, all those things collectively merge together to create who we are as a community. We might like to tell ourselves that, oh, the community exists and it's got its own personality, but I can tell you as a pastor, the community has the personality of the community, right? Every year as we pour water, whether you brought water with you or whether you're going to use some of the water that we've placed on the table, every year as we pour this water from the individual containers into the collective container, we are acknowledging the way that the confluence, the joining of many individual streams, individual sources of water, that's hope and promise and worry and care and attention and commitment, the way that putting those together creates something more than we are alone or individually. So let's just take a moment and really contemplate, what is it you're bringing in today? And one of the things that's important about community, when we say in Unitarian Universalism that love is at the center and that every being has inherent worth, what that means is what you're bringing is okay. You don't have to be bringing only skills and cheerfulness. You can be bringing, I'm really freaked out about the world. You can be bringing grief. You can be bringing hope and grief mixed together. Whatever it is we're bringing all goes into the same place and mingles and merges so that maybe your grief meets someone else's hope. And together there's some kind of peace or resolution. Maybe your confusion meets someone else's clarity. You know, maybe the way we merge these things together produces some kind of, the word elixir comes to my mind, some kind of an elixir that is healing to all of us. So today, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to just take our time, because that's the other thing about water. Water goes at its own pace. We were talking about this in Earth Church last week, and we were talking, what was the word that we came up with for sneaky? Water is sneaky. Anybody, and the example that everybody in Earth Church was giving last week when we were talking about water was, you know that tiny little leak that came in through that tiny little hole in your roof, and it went across the attic and down the sidewall. Once I was staying in a cabin in Townsend with my extended family. We were in this cabin, and you know, they're lovely, right? Lovely cabin. Somebody went upstairs to take a shower, and the next thing you know, there was this gorgeous, and I mean beautiful, waterfall coming out of the light fixture over the stove, which was lit. So it was like this beautiful cascade of water backlit by this light. And, you know, we all stood there for a second being like, wonder what's going on there, right? How did it get from the shower there? So water has a way of going where we don't expect it to go, of going at its own pace, of choosing the path of least resistance and direction. So that's how we're going to approach things today. Not going to be rigid, not going to be super structured about this. The way we're going to do this is Ryan and I are going to alternate with you all, sharing a few little readings about water. But we're going to invite you to come up at whatever pace, in whatever order you like, to the microphone. And we're going to invite you to just say a few words about water, about what you brought with you, what it represents for you. Maybe you're going to talk about, you know, the place you went this summer that you brought water from, right? And maybe you're going to talk about something symbolic. And maybe you're not going to say anything at all, and that is okay too. You can choose to pour water that you brought from someplace, or you can choose to use one of the smaller vessels and pour a little bit into that larger vase. This year, we also chose the largest vase possible to make more space, because last year, the last few years, we've used a really, really pretty vase that doesn't necessarily hold all the water we want to put in it. And we thought, this year, by gosh, we want a big enough vase to hold everything. So as you pour your water into the larger vase, I invite you to share briefly whatever you want to share about why that water is important to you. It might represent a spirit of adventure that is represented by some place you went. It might represent a commitment to justice or love of a garden or connection to family. It may simply be purely symbolic of a quality or a concept that's mattering to you right now. Whatever it is that you want to say within, a minute-ish, because there are a lot of us, you are welcome to share. So I'm going to turn on that microphone and make sure that's on, and Ryan is going to begin with our first reading, and then I'm going to invite you to just come up as you feel so called.
In one drop of water are found all the secrets of all the oceans. In one aspect of you are found all the aspects of existence. Khalil Gibran.
Be brave, be bold.
I could speak for 2 hours on this subject. First of all, right now, water means beautiful waterfalls that come down the mountains and we hike in. But when I was a toddler, I was almost drowned by water. My family has been through several shipwrecks, hurricanes, etc. My crazy brother and father owned boats. They lost several of them. We were shipwrecked off the Bahama Islands. We were only supposed to stay there a week, but we stayed there a month. Wow, that was a wonderful thing coming out of our ship, our big ship, 75-foot long, ex-Coast Guard cutter, hitting a sandbar and almost drowning us. So my question to my brother, who my father's long dead, but to my brother is always, he's always had boats. He's been shipwrecked off of Kodiak, Alaska, lost everything he owned, almost lost his life. Thank God the Coast Guard saved him. But he still has always owned boats and gone back and always been in the water. He lives down in near Atlanta, and he's always out there on the water. And it's crazy to me. Now, my wife and I love to go to the ocean. We're going to go in October. But the thing I get out of it is get back on the horse after you've been kicked off. Don't let the water, the ocean, the hurricane, the rain where we had to replace our roof, just like you talked about, get you down. Come back and remember the waterfalls are always out there.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And Bill, go ahead and put some in the vase. Take one of those small vases and pour a little in the big vase. Oh, you got some. Where's your water from, Sabina?
This water is from the community swimming pool, but I don't want to talk about that. I just briefly want to say, when you ask us, what is it that comes to our minds about water? And for me, water is life. I drink so much water a day. Whenever I don't have water available, I notice it, and it just makes me feel so much better. So thank you, water. I'm glad we have it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everybody. So for the 4th year in a row, I did not make time to go down to the beautiful First Creek and gather water. One of these years, I will do that. Those of you who live close to downtown know how much that watershed has been cleaned up in the last 10 years. So instead, I have something both incredibly ordinary and also incredibly magical. This is this is good old City of Knoxville municipal water. Run through my magical refrigerator filter. And I try my best to remember every day, at the touch of a button, I'm so wealthy and fortunate to have clean drinking water straight out the tap. And so that's what I brought today.
Awesome, thank you. The big one, big one.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alice Frost Steering. Water's meant a lot to me over the years. When I was probably 14 or 15, I wrote a very small little couple of verses, a little poem about water, showing how strong water can be and how gentle water can be. This is called The Rock. Pitted surface, chipped and cracked, weathered through the years, withering slowly, being washed away with Mother Nature's tender tears.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is a quote from Robin Wall Kimmerer, Anishinaabe scholar and elder. Maybe there is no such thing as rain. There are only raindrops, each with its own story. Okay.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Greenwood, and if y'all read the recent blog, you will have learned that I worked with Clean Water Action for a number of years. And while working there, I came to understand that, as you mentioned, water is life. But I also recognize now that water is death. And when I think of that, it brings to mind the symbol of the Tao, the yin and the yang. And not just that it is life and death, but within each of those is the seed of the other. So that when you have a flood or a hurricane come through or whatever, and it destroys everything, and there's so much death, that also lays the groundwork for new things to come up. And that all of that wonderful rain, all those little drops coming down, can lead to a flood or a surge of a wall of water coming in. So, yeah, that was kind of eye-opening for me, a nice little excursion today. And I have brought, so I have a runoff creek at the side of our property from the golf course, but it's really difficult to get down there. So I came to my home away from home runoff creek, which is the one just over there, and I scooped up a little bit of water, and so this is my offering, because this land here is where I feel more connected than even at my own house. And to me, being connected to the land and everything that it offers is really important.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Frances, and this is my son Lennon, who is pouring some water, and one of my other sons, Star, is here as well. So I decided that to give my summer a theme, and some people were giving their summers like the Summer of Yacht Rock, which sounds like a lot of fun, but mine was Summer of Water, because we've talked about water sneaking. I've had water be very sneaky to me for the past few years. I wanted to kind of feel more at peace with it, and so we took 2 big trips. You can sit back down if you want to. And they were very water themed. First was, which is my son who's not here, Mozart, his graduation gift was to go python hunting in the Everglades. And so that water is symbolic of the sawgrass rivers in the Everglades. And then we went down into the Florida Keys, and also that water is actually from the Florida Keys, where we went snorkeling in the U.S.'s coral reef all the way from Biscayne Bay to the dry Tortugas, and I loved it. The water was so warm, probably not good for the coral, but I felt at peace and with one after just jumping in, and I realized I was out there in the water. My kids were sitting on the boat like, we're so over this, but I felt very at one in the water. And then also I went to Scandinavia and got to go through the fjords of Norway, and that was the most gorgeous sight I've ever seen. And there are so many waterfalls coming down the mountains there. That is melted ice or melted snow coming through that the Scandic people at one point thought were blessings from Asgard, and would go and baptize their boats in it, and I just really felt wonderful with that. I actually got some fjord water that then the Swedes confiscated. So that was just in the Stockholm airport, and they took my whole entire skincare routine, and that was very painful to me, but they have beautiful skin there in Stockholm, so I don't know. But anyway, so this has been my summer of water, and I'm going to go out onto the lake later today, and I kayak. I don't have a boat, and so I'm very thankful. I think a lot of us have mixed feelings about TVA. That's one of those words around here you say, and it brings up a lot of emotions. But I am glad that I have a lot of water recreation activity, as we all do around here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You don't have to have a story. You can just come up and say anything. Be brave.
Hi there, I'm Anna. The ocean has always, for as long as I can remember, since I was a wee one, very important to me and my family. Happiest times in my life were near the ocean, on the beach, but near the ocean. These days, I'm landlocked in Tennessee, but I still go visit the ocean at least once a year, and if I can twist my husband's arm, twice a year. And even though I've been watching Shark Week way too many years, and I won't go in the water, I do get my feet in and walk along the shore, and to me, it just makes me feel good and alive. It's life. I love the ocean.
Awesome. And while Anna pours her water, I want to invite, if you are with us virtually, Linda, do you have your phone? Could you log on for us? Can you do it? Yeah, have you got a mic, Brad, or you can tell? Okay. So if anyone is with us virtually and wants to chime in, let us know and we will speak your words.
This is the same water that's in the Linda Kreger Memorial Brook. And every time we have Water Chameleon, I think about the wonderful place in the hill country of Texas where we could pull our chair in the middle of a babbling brook and forget about the world. It was our favorite place. And so I remember Linda every time we have Water Chameleon.
And a note that when we're all done here this morning, when the service is all over, the last thing we're going to do is anyone who wants to come out to our memorial garden, to our brook, we're going to actually this year start a new ritual of pouring the water into our brook to connect this community with all the generations of Westsiders and all the ancestors who have been here in the past. So that'll happen at the end. Go ahead, Vaz.
So, for me, water's kind of been a mixed deal, good, bad. Didn't start out kind of good. I would say my first few years, water was had a negative effect on me. I was struck down by cancer, and that was due to toxic water. But I've also have come across good water living in Colorado. And pretty much that's what I think of water. It's, if you don't take care of it, it can kill you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I added that water to represent water from Asheville and western North Carolina, where my husband and I spent a week this past June with our grandchildren. While we were in Asheville, as you might expect, following what that area went through and is still going through because of Hurricane Helene. We saw places that were open and thriving and had come right back. We drove by businesses that are gone or never going to come back, at least as they were. And we went by places where people are still working at it. But so often, there were signs in so many of the businesses that were open that said, "We are open. Our community is stronger than the storm." And so, again, you know, like Bill mentioned, it was it made you think of the resilience of community and of human nature.
Our next reading comes from Dean Ornish. The need for connection and community is primal, as fundamental as the need for air, water, and food. You can line up. You don't have to come up one by one.
Yeah, you can line up. It's okay.
Ray and Lily here. For me, water has come very full circle. I grew up on a creek, not a crick. They are different, as this one learned this morning. They had a whole language lesson. Grew up with my uncle, go put Crocs on, don't walk barefoot in the creek. Be careful of crawfish, you're gonna get bit. And now we have moved out and it's come very full circle because we live on a creek. So this is water from the creek, from our first apartment as a new married couple.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
I do realize that it's August, but this is not an August story. The magic of water is when it's frozen. And the magic of water is when it comes down as snow. I grew up ice skating, and I loved to snow ski. And I met my husband at the ice rink about 30 years ago. So, all magic.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I'm Judy Winchester, and this water comes from the outside water faucet that's near our little water feature out there. And it represents the fact that I didn't go anywhere during the summer away from Knoxville, but I came here many times to water those darn morning glories, which are trying to just take over if we would let them. But I enjoy spending time outside. I don't have a yard where I live. This is my yard.
And Judy is a stalwart presence out there in the summer with taking care of that little garden.
Hi, I'm Ash, and pronouns they, them. Water is community to me in a way that, well, many of you may not know, but a few years ago, I was a night shift custodian over at UT Hospital. And I especially would take over the hospice ward up on the 13th floor, where I would clean the rooms of patients who were there, who had either been discharged in one way or another. There was one night around 3 a.m. where there was a man in the room next to the one I was cleaning who kept asking for spaghetti. And I never got the name of this man, but I did let the nurse know that he was hungry. And then an hour later, I was let know that I would be going back up to the 13th floor to clean the room next to the one I had been cleaning. So when I went into the room, I saw that not only had he had a plate with red sauce and some noodles, but he also had a vase filled with water and a single rose. And that rose is what water sort of means to me, because that rose cannot last forever, just as we cannot last forever. But the water gives that rose comfort and allows it to bloom for longer and more comfortably than maybe out in nature. And that's sort of how I feel about community as well. It gives us comfort while we are here and maybe even long after we're gone.
All right, our next reading is
Go ahead, Jonas. Jonas, go ahead, you can get it.
While we're walking up, is from Norman McLean. Eventually, all things merge into one, and a river runs through it.
Two connections. When the congregation bought this property many, many years ago, it was really in a mess, and I would come here and work to try to clean up some of this. And in the process, I got to talk to some of the old people who had, in fact, the family that used to live here in the house over here. The story was, the family's name was Arness, spelled with an H, and the mother got sick, and when she died, they sold the property to cover expenses and moved up the hill up here to less favorable locations. But one of the stories was that way back when, there used to be a spring up a ways, and the water would flow down through here. And when they put the sewer line in, they used dynamite to blast out the rock, and the spring stopped flowing. So at the time we bought the property, there was no flow of water down here. But as development around increased and more water flow, I worked to kind of scoop out a drainage line through there. And in the process, I found a hammerstone used by Native Americans. And I tell this story because last time I was here a couple of weeks ago, someone talked about Native Americans, and I think that stone is still around.
It's in my office.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in a place of honor in my office.
So,
yeah.
so you can imagine families of Native Americans living along this, what was once a stream down there. But the other thing is that if you have lived in East Tennessee very long, you realize the month of January, it can rain and rain and rain every day. So a couple of years ago, I composed this little verse. I looked and looked and looked again, but all I saw was rain, rain, rain. But know this without a doubt, one day we'll see the sun come out.
So many poets in the congregation. These are words from Leonardo da Vinci. The water you touch in a river is the last of what has passed and the first of what is still to come. Echoing that idea that time touches things and they move. Who else wants to add some water?
I don't want to talk about water, but I want to tell you that I love the way those chairs are set up here and that you're down here with us rather than up there.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yep. We try to do this regularly. There was a movement at one time to do it consistently, and then we found out it doesn't work so great for television. So, as often as we can. Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
Hi, I'm Sherry. So in Western astrology, I'm an earth sign, and my partner is a water sign. So when I think about water today, I think about the people who come into your life and wash away your self-imposed structures and soften your rough edges, because 5 years ago when we met, I was a lot more, I would say, impatient and rigid than I am today. And just thinking about the healing nature and what your water people bring into your life.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
I was thinking about how, my name is Michelle Knifing. I was thinking about how the significance of water really made an impact to me when I was visiting Kenya this year. And the migration of the animals, there's a lot of small farms there. Everything is farm to table, so everybody's so dependent on water, and not irrigation systems like we have here. It really kind of was a life-changing trip for me, and it really was a way to relate to the earth and water in a whole different way. So I feel very fortunate for that.
I will follow that. You know, I live on a farm, and our well is the center of our life. We have a wonderful well on our property that we shower in, that we drink, that we cook with. And I can actually feel the nutrients in the well water. It's water that I can taste the minerals. After it rains a lot, it changes color. And when it gets dry, we don't use very much. So I think about it every single time I turn on the tap, every single time I take a shower, every single time you flush a toilet, which in dry seasons you don't do a lot on a well. I think about it every single time. And something that I also think about is how water connects us across the land. When there's lightning, you don't go near the sink. Like, you literally don't go near the water sources, because we do know people who have actually been harmed and killed because a bolt of lightning can hit water underground miles away and travel to my sink. It took me a year to learn that, you know, it'd be lightning storming, and I'd be getting ready to do dishes, and Tracy would say from the other room, "Get away from the sink." And I didn't understand that natural water underground. So my water represents this secret network of life. If you've ever been to the Lost Sea or Takalichi Caverns, you know that there are rivers, not just above the surface, but under the surface, creating a huge part of the ecosystem we live in. Now, if you don't want to say words, but you'd like to go ahead and pour some water in, this is the free-for-all time. Where if you just want to walk up and take some water from the smaller vases and pour it into the bigger vase, I really encourage you to do that. Go for it, Ryan. Go for it.
If you fill that vase up, who's going to carry it?
Ryan's got to carry the big vase. It doesn't have to be totally full, but anybody who wants to contribute, feel free to come up and pour some water into the big vase, even if you're not going to say words.
Good luck, Ryan.
I'll get a nice pack when we get home.
Yeah. All right, anybody else? Whether you poured water in or not, You are contributing to the confluence of realities that we bring. Thank you all so much for sharing your stories. This year's theme is about being neighbors, learning about our neighbors, connecting in our neighborhoods, and we start here, learning about each other. I want to remind you about the opportunities we have to make a difference in our larger community. Always, this is the part where we see the QR codes and them. So, wonderful opportunity. That is our Justice and Generosity partner for this month, and then we'll be switching in October to a new partner. You can always contribute to Westside directly through our QR code, through the box in the back of the room, through our website. Those are ways you can support the work we do, support this institution, and you can also contribute directly to Keep the Tennessee River Beautiful. So I want to invite you, we're going to sing again. So, I don't know, let's stand up just for the heck of it, just to do something different. We're going to sing number 314, Our World is One World. I'm sorry, I did it again. 134, I glanced and got it wrong, 134. So Sandra's going to play it all the way through for us once, and then we're going to sing all the verses. So, you know, if you feel like just humming along, feel free to do that. But if you feel like singing, whether you know it or not, belt as loud as you like. So I invite you to remain standing for our closing words. If you feel so inclined, I invite you to join hands. You can always hold your own hands. That is okay. So our world is one world. There's nothing like water to prove that we're all connected, because you'll notice that water does not care one bit about geographical boundaries. A river will flow across a state line and carry what happens in one state to another. Rain that is picked up on another part of the globe will travel in the clouds and land on a completely different continent. We are all connected. This poem is a poem by Kaylee Rice, All Rivers Run to the Sea. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling towards its destination, and finally, the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today you brought water, poured it into a common bowl. Though our experiences have differed, these waters mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred space, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home. All rivers run to the sea. So we will have, following this service, the most important water communion of all in Unitarian Universalism, which is coffee hour. But for anyone who wants to watch Ryan carry that really big vase, we are going to take a minute to go out to the water feature and just say a few words to acknowledge the ancestors who've gone before us, that our water, our community is part of the larger stream of Unitarian Universalism in this place. So go in peace.
Good luck to your daughter.